Which female careers are linked to higher divorce or infidelity? A data-driven look at work, marriage, and relationship risk in America. One of the more controversial relationship debates online is the claim that women in certain professions are more likely to divorce or be unfaithful. You hear people mention nurses, bartenders, flight attendants, police officers, military women, corporate women, doctors, lawyers, teachers, and women who work in nightlife or hospitality. Sometimes the discussion is presented as advice about who not to marry. Other times, it becomes a moral judgment about women, careers, feminism, money, or modern relationships. But if we want to have a serious discussion, we have to slow down. The question should not be, which profession makes women divorce or cheat? That framing is too simplistic, and it can quickly become unfair. A better question is this: which work conditions are associated with higher marital strain, divorce, or reported infidelity? That distinction matters because careers do not operate in isolation. A job comes with a schedule, income level, stress level, social environment, professional culture, and level of emotional exhaustion. A woman working late nights in a bar is not living the same daily life as a woman working as a school teacher. A nurse on 12-hour night shifts is not experiencing marriage in the same way as a lawyer with more predictable hours. A home health aide working physically demanding shifts for modest pay is facing a different kind of pressure from a physician, executive, or professor. So the issue is not simply the job title. The issue is the life structure that comes with the job. Let's begin with divorce. Divorce is easier to measure than infidelity because divorce is a legal event. We can count it. We can compare it across states, ages, education levels, and sometimes occupations. The most recent national data show that divorce in the United States is not rising the way many people assume. In fact, the refined divorce rate has generally declined over time. The National Center for Family and Marriage Research reported that in 2024, the refined divorce rate was about 14.2 divorces per 1,000 married women. That was slightly lower than 14.4 in 2023. So before we even discuss professions, we should recognize that the broader divorce trend is not simply everybody is divorcing more. The reality is more complicated. However, divorce is not evenly distributed across the population. It varies by age, education, race, income, geography, and occupation. Younger married adults generally face higher divorce risk than older married adults. People with less education generally face higher divorce risk than people with college degrees. People under financial stress often face more relationship instability than people with stable income and benefits. And people working irregular schedules, night shifts, or emotionally exhausting jobs may experience more work-family conflict. That is where occupation becomes important. When researchers look at divorce by occupation, the jobs most often associated with higher divorce risk are not usually elite professions. They are more often lower-wage, service-based, caregiving, hospitality, transportation, and support occupations. Recent American Community Survey-based analysis found that among workers who had married at least once, healthcare support and transportation-related job categories had relatively high levels of divorce or separation. Another occupational analysis found that women in jobs such as bartending, food service, home health care, and personal care support showed relatively high recent divorce rates. This does not mean bartenders, waitresses, home health aides, or nursing support workers are somehow morally weaker than other women. That would be the wrong conclusion. What it suggests is that these jobs often carry several relationship stressors at the same time: low or unstable pay, night work, weekend schedules, customer-facing emotional labor, fatigue, alcohol-centered environments in some cases, and less time with a spouse during normal family hours. Take bartending as an example. Bartending often appears in public discussions about relationship risk because the job usually involves late nights, alcohol, social interaction, and a high level of customer engagement. But the risk is not simply that a woman is a bartender. The risk factors are the environment around the work: late night schedules, flirtatious customer interactions, alcohol exposure, variable income, and being at work during the hours when a spouse may be home. That combination can create tension, jealousy, mistrust, or emotional distance in a marriage. It may also increase opportunities for outside relationships. But again, opportunity is not the same as behavior, and risk is not destiny.
Food service tells a similar story. Waitresses and restaurant workers often work nights, weekends, and holidays.
Their income may depend on tips. The work can be physically tiring and emotionally demanding. They may have to perform friendliness and warmth for customers, even when they are exhausted. That kind of emotional labor can spill over into family life. When someone comes home drained, underpaid, and stressed, the marriage may absorb the pressure. Home health aides and personal care aides are another important group. These jobs are overwhelmingly female and are essential to American society. They involve caring for elderly, disabled, or medically fragile people. The work can be intimate, physically demanding, emotionally intense, and often underpaid. Many of these women are also caregivers in their own families. So they may spend the day caring for clients, then return home and continue caregiving for children, spouses, parents, or extended family. That creates what we might call a double caregiving burden. If the worker is exhausted and the household does not have enough support, the marriage can suffer. Healthcare is especially complicated. Nurses are often mentioned in debates about divorce and infidelity, but we need to be careful. The stronger evidence is about marital strain and divorce, not about nurses being uniquely unfaithful. Healthcare work can involve long shifts, night shifts, trauma exposure, emotional burnout, and high-pressure decision-making. A major study of healthcare professionals found that nurses had a higher prevalence of having been divorced than some other professional groups, such as physicians, dentists, pharmacists, and lawyers. But that does not prove that nursing causes divorce. It suggests that the structure of nursing work may create pressures that affect marriage. And even within healthcare, not all jobs are the same. A registered nurse, a licensed practical nurse, a nursing assistant, a home health aide, a physician, and a healthcare executive all live different work lives. Some have more autonomy, more income, more predictable schedules, and more institutional support. Others face more physical strain, more shift instability, and less control over their time. That is why broad labels like nurses can mislead the discussion. Now, what about high-status professional women? Lawyers, doctors, executives, professors, engineers, and corporate leaders. Popular culture sometimes suggests that highly educated or ambitious women are more likely to divorce because they are independent, financially secure, or less willing to tolerate a bad marriage. There may be some truth in the idea that financial independence gives a woman more ability to leave an unhealthy relationship. But that does not mean high-status careers produce the highest divorce risk. In fact, the data often points in the opposite direction. Education tends to protect marriage. People with bachelor's degrees and graduate degrees generally have lower divorce rates than people with less education. Higher education is often associated with later marriage, greater economic stability, better planning, and more access to resources. So while professional women may face unique pressures, long hours, ambition conflicts, delayed family formation, or partners who feel threatened by their success, they are not usually the group with the highest divorce risk. This is an important correction to the online narrative. The issue is not simply, career women are bad for marriage. The evidence suggests that economic insecurity, unstable schedules, low control over work time, and chronic stress may be more damaging to marriage than professional success itself. Now, let's turn to infidelity. This part of the